Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's good to be back. I've been gone for a month, which is as long as I've ever been gone. It is the end of my first year of college. It's crazy. Finals, final papers, moving around furniture in the dorm, moving out of the dorms, driving 100 or 903 miles back home. It's been a lot in the past little bit. So I haven't been on YouTube, but it's so good to be back. And you would notice different setting than normal. I'm actually in a friend's dorm. She's just allowing me to film in this space, and I would just like to acknowledge the amazing artwork that she does. She's an incredible artist. I also have a guest speaker here today, the girl who painted these paintings, Heather Kellogg.
Hi!
Alright, so this is Heather, and she's going to tell us a little bit what it's like to be an MK and what that looks like. But Heather, my first question for you is, what is an MK? Because not everybody knows what MK means or stands for.
Well, MK is not, first of all, it's not the clothing brand or the purse brand. I know there's a Michael Kors thing. We're not that.
It's a good point. No, you're the child of purses.
No. MK stands for the word Missionary Kid. But I feel like I also need to describe what missionary is
in this context.
Because it can get confused with different religions and different things. So in the Nazarene Church, where we're both involved,
we're both in that denomination. Christian first,
yes.
But we were proud of our Nazarene history.
Yes, but we believe that someone can have a call in their heart. Basically, they can feel the Lord's leading on their heart and different experiences, or they just feel that push to live overseas and to spread the word and the gospel of God. And that can look in different ways. There's different types of missionaries. But that's the basic of it. And so basically, my parents were called to be missions from their heart, no paperwork involved. Obviously, the job paperwork, but
right. But that comes later.
Yeah. And they moved to Guatemala, and I was their child throughout all of this.
So she got to move with them. How old?
I was 16.
Yeah, so pretty young.
So there's but not the youngest though.
Yeah, this is true.
I actually got in the game late. But anyway, that's a story for later down the line.
Okay. We also want to just differentiate. We're Christian, we're Nazarene, and then there's another religion out there that's Mormonism, and they also send their kids our age out on missions, mainly men, or the boys, males, but girls do that as well. And we just want to make it very clear that Jesus Christ is a cornerstone to our faith and our religion. He's the author, the perfecter, the pioneer of our faith. Jesus is the cornerstone, and we both affirm that Jesus is the Son of God, that he is both fully human and fully God, that he is the second head of the Trinity, that he came, walked on earth, and then died on the cross for our sins and rose again in 3 days. And that is very different than what Mormons would affirm, and so we just want to make that clear distinction that we are Christians and we worship God of Israel, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, the God I am, Alpha and Omega, all that good stuff. I mean, our God's amazing. Gotta not start preaching over here. I love just all different names of God. Jehovah Jireh.
I love your passion.
But that's it. We'll move on.
Yes.
So, Heather. Question for you. How did you become an MK?
Okay, so first that's more of a question of how did my parents become missionaries, and then how I was involved as well.
You were wrangled into that.
I was kind of wrangled in there. So, context about my life. I am half and half. My dad is American, Idahoan country boy, and my mom is Guatemalan, and their story's so cute. I can't help but share it. Long story short, they were, my dad went on a mission trip and married his translator, basically. That's not the rule. Don't expect that when you go on mission, no. But it's the exception.
Yeah.
But after they lived in the U.S. for many years, my mom actually got to a point where she lived longer in the U.S. than she had in Guatemala. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. But I'm trying to like weed through all of the context.
It's okay, I can edit too, so I'll be editing a lot.
Yes. So after a series of many mission trips, my mom was the work and witness coordinator for our church, and so she spearheaded a lot of mission trips. She went to Sri Lanka, Senegal, Guatemala a couple times because, you know, home country, got to do that. And then my dad was also able to go on a bunch of mission trips as well. He was able to get involved in a global tech team, which basically took Wi-Fi to different college campuses around the globe. And I was able to go with him. I went with him to Swaziland, Africa, when it was still called Swaziland. And he's been to Ecuador and somewhere else that I've forgotten. I'm sorry. But after all of these mission trips, him and my mom were able to go to Guatemala together for one of these tech trips. And as they were walking on the seminary campus, they both looked at each other and they're like, I have a feeling that we're not done here. There's something else greater, that we're not finished here. Even though it was like the end of, like, they still had to do more on like the work project that they were doing. They're like, no, there's something more that we're gonna do here. There's so much context and fun stories.
Don't give us the context. Give us the bullet points in the summary.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to edit so much of that.
Goodness. Okay,
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, so then they applied, and after a series of like 6 months, I was living in Guatemala.
Yeah.
And my world changed. That's the bullet point short version.
So in summary, your parents got married because of missions, essentially. That's how they met.
Yeah.
Your mom lived in the U.S. for a while, did various things with compassionate ministries and all that good stuff, smaller trips, and then God just called your whole entire family to Guatemala.
Yes, yes.
So I would like to throw out a quick disclaimer that every MK's life and experiences are all different.
Yes.
So while Heather is speaking from her experience,
Yes.
she's not speaking for all MKs everywhere.
Yes.
But she is, like, our goal on this video is to give a voice to MKs so that you know that you're not alone, that she gets it, and that I'm doing what I can to empathize, and that,
And also like the similarities too between MKs and PKs.
Yes, too, because video number 2 is going to be about PKs, which, well, there's one right here. But anyway, let's turn the camera back to Heather, and this is a great question. I absolutely love this. How would you describe the life of an MK or a missionary kid to somebody who has no idea what the life of an MK looks like?
Okay.
Or feels like?
So I'll describe like the physical changes, and then I'll also describe like the emotional changes, because there's a lot to unpack there, and I will do my best to be very brief and stick to the point.
Bullet points.
Bullet points. So physically, there's a lot of change. I always question you kind of, what's the word home mean? That's a good question for many MKs. It's really hard to answer that when a lot of people are like, oh, where are you from? There's been a lot of change and a lot of moving around in a lot of missionary kids' lives. I was blessed to just stick in one place. And so like my phone automatically connects to the Wi-Fi at Dallas, Houston, and Denver airports. So that's like the physical part of it. Cockroaches, different bugs are involved, different foods, different like learning languages. I became a missionary kid late in life, and so I didn't grow up learning the language, so I had to learn the language for me.
Was that challenging?
Yes. Even though my mom grew up in Guatemala, we didn't speak Spanish in the household, so that was a very big struggle for me moving and creating those relationships and those friends. And I'll expand on that later. But let me look at my notes real fast for the emotional things.
We just want to be very raw and vulnerable with you guys. So we've taken a lot of time to make these videos be funny but serious.
Yeah. So I also want to mention that I called my sister. She gave me the questions beforehand, and so I called my sister and we kind of talked about these questions. So some of this is like my sister's voice as well, because she is still on the mission field as well, and I'm just coming off, so that we have different perspectives all over. So being a missionary kid, we love it overall, but we're nowhere close to being normal, and we've embraced it. Like we just have different life experiences, and we're just not normal. We don't get the typical like get your driver's license at 16, go to prom, like different things. Like our missionary kid school did a very good job of trying, but yeah. Um, getting a boyfriend in high school is really rough because when you go to a missionary kid school, everyone is like moving and changing and doing different things, and you just don't know who's gonna hang out around long enough for that to happen. Homesickness is a part of everyday life. I will describe more about homesickness later, but it's real. It sucks. Let's see. Pop culture. I don't understand pop culture, and a lot of MKs won't understand pop culture. And if you do live in a place where you have a lot of good, decent access to internet, like you live in the city, you will live off of social media for like understanding what's going on back in the U.S. What other trends are happening or different things. You'll hold on to those really well because as like that ties you to your passport country, which I will explain that later as well.
Yeah. Also, she was born as an American. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but she was born as an American, and then at 16 moved to Guatemala to be a missionary with her family, and now she's back in the U.S. for college. So shout out to NNU.
Yes. I'm also now a dual citizen as well.
Oh, so. I did not know that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So it's fun. Let's see.
Any other emotional changes as a PK or describing that life?
Even though it was really difficult, I wouldn't change it for the world. But you can't beat around the bush. It's really hard especially to make that change to the mission field. And on going back to pop culture, like it's hard for my sister. She said she can't comment on any of the things like BLM or like how COVID is being handled in the U.S. or any U.S. politics because she's just not living there. Like all she sees is social media and news, and we all know how reliable news is. So yeah, that's just some of the missionary good things.
Yeah, that's rough. So how has being an MK changed you?
Okay. It's a very loaded question. Let's do the physical first. Before I was a missionary kid, I was a very picky eater. And kind of was used to, I grew up in a small town, and that's kind of what I was used to. And then I changed and moved into the big city. So I felt like this, just a small town girl, like moving to the big city. Like, I love that. I moved to like a city with at least 1 million people, probably 2 million people.
That scares me. I'm a girl from a town of 5,000, and like living with 1 million people around me is so scary.
Yeah, so like I moved from like open skies to like literally like a concrete jungle. Like I couldn't see the sunset anymore, which hurt my soul. Unless I went to like different places and traveled, which I did a lot of. I'm very adaptable now. Like there are so many things where like I just expect things to change. My parents are coming to visit. I have no idea what the actual plans are to come visit, and I won't trust any plans unless it's 24 hours before, and I just have to continually be ready for change and just roll with it because
it's just a good quality.
Yeah, it is really good. It helps a lot with life and just like, okay, that's happening.
We're just gonna change it. We're gonna just recalibrate, keep going.
Exactly.
I relate to that for different reasons, but yeah, I relate.
We can problem solve. We're confident. And especially in uncomfortable situations. Like, we've been in a lot of uncomfortable situations. And in fact, like, it's very hard to embarrass me anymore. Like, I've been so embarrassed on so many levels. Like, when you're learning a new language, when you're interacting with new people, you have different cultural things that you don't really know. Like, in the U.S., like, we smile and wave. But in Guatemala, you hug and kiss people.
Oh, yeah.
On the cheek. And so you have to, like... And so there's a lot of awkwardness and just kind of embarrassment that happens. So like you cannot embarrass me anymore. Like there's like it's life. I can also, it helps me talk to anybody. I came into this introvert and I came out an extroverted introvert. So I can talk and make friends with
anybody
if I need.
This girl is like, oof,
yeah.
great.
So like
social butterfly.
You're very kind. I'm hiding my introvertedness well.
I'm an introvert too. People just I'm like, what's that word between the extrovert and the introvert?
Ambivert.
That's me because like I love people and it's great and it gives me energy in the moment. But to have that energy the next day, I have to like be alone, and that's not just sleeping for 8 hours. Like that's being alone for like at least an hour.
Telling the same story multiple times doesn't bother me. When you have multiple groups of people that you're hosting all the time that ask you where you're from, like not where you're from because you're living, but they'll ask you, what are you doing in school? Like, who are your friends? Like, what's going on with your life and different things? And what are some of the favorite things you've been on the mission field? And I remember one time I was sitting with my sister. We were eating lunch at a restaurant somewhere with all these people, and they're asking us all these questions. And I looked to my sister, and I thought of a story, and she literally said the story that I was thinking of. And it was the same one that we've always like done before, but she just decided to talk for me, and I was like, "Thank you. I needed a break from talking for a moment." And
yeah, it's like I actually need to eat this food.
Yes, I needed to eat. And so she was like, "Yeah." She just started telling the story, and like, I was like, "Thank you." I was so tired. I don't know. I probably woke up early or something, but yeah. So that's pretty much it for. I mean, I could go on forever. One of my favorite things about my sister is short story, you're probably gonna edit this out.
Go for it.
We were hosting a team of about 23 people. That's the average size of the teams that we hosted. And my mom was somewhere translating, doing something different. My dad is on top of a roof, and we have about 15 people coming to us asking where lunch is. We have no idea. We have no idea.
You're kids.
I was 17 at the time. Kristen was 3 years younger than me. Someone do
14.
the math. 14. Thank you. And so we were like, okay, so we had to find out where all the boxes with the sandwich stuff was, and coordinate with the ladies in the kitchen and figure out what was going on. And I want to give credit to my sister. She spearheaded that thing. I was useless in this moment.
Shout out, Kristen.
And we were able to feed 15 people. I have no idea where my parents went, but we can problem solve and we can just figure it out really easily.
Yeah, so part of what I'm going to actually share is that I actually have to schedule time to hang out with my dad.
Oh, dude!
Can you
I feel that! Holy cow. Yeah. Oof. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
I have a new question for you.
Yes, what is it?
How did you become a PK?
PK, MK.
MK, I'm so sorry.
Over again?
Yes! That's so a blooper though, but yeah. Alright, good. Also, everybody, we're gonna pause the video because we forgot to pray before we began, and I just realized that. So, we're gonna do that. We'll be right back. Because we both been stressed, we need to bring God into this. We gotta chill, and then we'll have like the right heart posture to continue. So,
This will be great.
we'll be back in 5.